everyone, welcome back to another video. So today I am doing my 2020 bookish resolutions. So before I get into my bookish goals for 2020, I wanted to go back and recap 2019, what my goals were, and see just how well I did or maybe not do with my 2019 goals. So in 2019, I had separated my goals into three categories: reading goals, writing goals, and channel goals. And so I'm going to do that again this year. But to go back to 2019, which I'll also leave the 2019 resolution video in the link in the description below in case anyone wants to check it out. But my goals for 2019, as far as reading wise, was to read 100 books, and I did do that. I surpassed that. I surpassed that goal and read 107 books. So happy about that. The next goal was to read 2 nonfiction books a month, and I didn't quite do that. I did read quite a few nonfictions. I read 18 nonfiction books last year in 2019. So 2 books a month would have been 24 books total. So got 18 books, so almost, but didn't quite get that goal. The next goal was my monthly TBR jar. So I was supposed to pick a book out of my monthly TBR every month, and I started that in the beginning of 2019, and then I think I fell off somewhere early summer. So I'm not very good about sticking to my TBR jar. So yeah, there's that. I'm not even putting it as a goal for this year because I'm like, I really don't think I'm going to stick to it. It's just whatever I'm in the mood to read at the time. The next goal was to finish at least 8 series. And because I have a lot of series that I've started and have not finished, and of course I started new series in 2019 as well. So I wanted to finish at least 8 series for that year. And I did meet that. I surpassed that one as well. I finished 12 series. And some of them, I believe I did like a series review for, I want to say. So any of the ones I did a review for, I'll leave them linked down below. But I did get through quite a bit of series, so happy about that. The next goal was to read at least 10 middle grade books, which I did. And I really enjoyed a lot of them, so I'm glad I did that. Reading the middle grade books just really reminded me why I like middle grade stories sometimes, because they are just really fast paced and you don't really waste time with slow beginnings. I feel like that's especially true with middle grade because, you know, short attention spans, you gotta get to the point a lot quicker. So yeah, a lot of the times with adult books and YA books, sometimes the beginning can be slow and drag out for a while, but you really don't get that with middle grade. Like, you get right into the plot pretty early on. So I like that I got through 10 middle grade books because it reminded me why I like middle grade books. So hoping to read more middle grade this year. The next one was to read at least 10 adult books as well, which I did. I actually read 11 adult books, which I feel like one of those books should count as 2 books. Because I read Stephen King's It, and that book is humongous. That literally should count as 2, maybe even 3 books. I'm not going to count it as 2 or 3 books, but it really should be, because that thing is over 1,100 pages. So, but I did finish 11 adult books, so happy about that. I do want to read more adult books this year as well. I just might need to be a little bit more selective. Because whereas middle grade books, I'm reminded why I love them, because they're so fast-paced and everything. Adult books sometimes tend to be on the much slower end of things. And you're kind of like, okay, can we move on already? So, I don't know, I need to find some fast-paced adult books. So, if you guys have any recommendations for me, I'm all ears. The next goal was to reread at least 3 books, which I definitely surpassed that, because I reread the first, 6 books in the Throne of Glass series before reading Kingdom of Ash. I knew I wanted to reread the whole series before I got to the final book, so that's what I did. So surpassed that goal with just that series. But even beyond that, I reread 14 books in 2019, some of which were nonfiction books as well. But that's pretty good for me, rereading 14 books, because I hardly ever reread a book. It will be years, maybe even decades, before I reread a book. So to reread 14 books last year, that's pretty good for me. And I do want to reread some more books this year as well. So we'll get to that. The next goal was to read at least 5 classics. Definitely did not meet this one. I read 2 classics in 2019, and I didn't like either one of them. So it made it really hard to pick up another classic. I read Frankenstein earlier in the year, and then I read 12 Years a Slave during the reading rush. And I was hoping to enjoy those more than I did, but I don't know. I just don't think classics are for me, which is probably why I hated reading in school, because we always had classics to read, and I'm finding I'm just not a classic type of person. I don't do well with classic books. I'll still try some more. I need to see if I can try some classic fantasy. But not Lord of the Rings. No one suggests Lord of the Rings. Only because I don't know if I could get through Lord of the Rings. The movie was extremely slow for me, so I can't even imagine trying to get through the book. So I need to find some other classic fantasies that I can try out. Chronicles of Narnia is on my list, my TBR list. And that is a children's book. So, hopefully that might be one that will be a good fit for me. If it's fast paced, like the middle grade books I've been reading, then maybe that'll be one for me. And I'll finally like a classic. But I'm still gonna try. I'm gonna try to read a couple this year. Not 5, but I'll get to that in a minute. So the next goal was to read my backlist books. So I did a video early on in 2019 of some of the backlist books on my bookshelves that I wanted to get to. And if you don't know, backlist just means books that were not published that year. So anything before 2019, anything published before 2019 would be considered backlist. And I have a lot of backlist books on my shelves because sometimes I buy books and they sit on my shelves for years and years before I actually get to them. So yeah, I've been trying to get down on my backlist books. I'm going to still try to do that this year. But as far as last year's goal of reading through my backlist books, I got through most of the ones on my list. And like I said, I'll leave that video link down below. But I got through most of the books on that list. I think the only ones I didn't get to was the Red Queen series, which I still want to finish, so I might try to do that this year. So the Red Queen series was the only one I didn't get around to. There were 2 other series on my backlist books list, but those 2, I started the series, I read the first book, but then I didn't continue with the series. So one of them was Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I read the first book, Mistborn. Mistborn was tricky for me. I kind of had mixed feelings because for a lot of it I was kind of bored with, but the ending was great. I loved the ending, and I think I rated it higher than I probably would have because I loved the ending so much. But when I look back on it, I'm like, the ending was great, but does it really make up for the first 2/3 of the book that were kind of I don't know. And I don't know if I want to continue with the series because I'm just kind of like, I've heard that the second book is kind of slower, and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't think I can do it. I don't know. I'm probably not going to continue with the Mistborn series. I've actually already unhauled my Mistborn books, which, if I change my mind, I can always get them from the library, but at this point, I really don't think I want to continue with that series. I do want to try one of Sanderson's other series, maybe Skyward. So I do want to try his other books, because, people love Sanderson's books, and, Mistborn might not be for me, but I do want to give his other books a try, and I might try Skyward. We'll see. The other series on my backlist book that I started but didn't continue with was A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray. I read the first book, and it was kind of just okay. I didn't love it as much as I was hoping to. I was really hoping to just fall in love with the series, especially because, Libba Bray wrote the Diviner series, which is one of my favorites, and I absolutely love it. And I was hoping to love this one just as much, but sadly I did not. I might pick up the rest of the series at some point. I didn't unhaul those books, so I might give it another shot sometime. Because, I have heard good things about that series, the Gemma Doyle series. I've heard good things about it, and, I love Libba Bray's writing. I really like her as an author, so do you think I'm going to give that series another chance at another time? I don't know when, but we'll see. And then the last goal under the reading category, which isn't really a reading goal, but I had it listed in this category, was to post at least one book quote of the week on Instagram. And I think I did pretty well with that one up until the end of the year. Kind of the end of the year, I think, is where I fell off, and I didn't do any quotes at all in December. But yeah, I think for the most part, I kept up with the quote of the week. So then my writing goals for 2019. So this is what I had for my writing goals. The first one was simply to write a book, which I did do. I wrote a complete draft of a nonfiction book, and I went through 3 revisions of that book, and I'm hoping to get it published this year in 2020, so look out for more information about that coming up. But yes, I did write a book. I wrote a nonfiction book, and I did start 2 fiction projects in 2019 as well, which I'm going to continue working on in 2020. I want to hopefully finish one of those in 2020. But yeah, so started 2 fictions, wrote 1 nonfiction book. My second goal was to write 5 to 6 times per week. And that was a definite no. I did not meet this one. I am such a procrastinator. It takes me forever to get started on something. Like, once I get started and once I'm focused, I can go for a bit. But just getting started is such a process. It's the hardest part for me, is just getting started. So, did not end up writing 5 to 6 times a week. My writing was pretty sporadic. Still trying to nail down a schedule as far as what might be best. Do I want to write in the mornings or the evenings? I feel like I'm more creative in the evenings, but I might be more motivated in the mornings. So, I don't know, we'll kind of see. Still trying to figure out a schedule that works for me. The third writing goal was to write at least 2,000 words a day. Again, did not meet this one. I feel like sometimes I really underestimate how hard writing can be at times. Like, sometimes 2,000 words comes out real quick and easily, no problem. I've done that. And then other days, I try to write and it's tough even getting to 500 words. And so I don't think I'm keeping that one as a goal anymore. I don't know if I'll put a limit on how many words I write a day or anytime I write. 2,000 would be great to write every day, but I think I kind of underestimated. Like, some days it's easy. Some days, can get way past that. And then other days it's like, I just want to get to 100. Like, let me just get 100 words. So yeah, don't underestimate the writer's block. So those were my writing goals, and last were my channel goals for 2019. So I only had a couple of these. So the first one was to post at least once a week, get on a consistent schedule and post at least once a week. And I think I did that for the most part. I think I might have missed some weeks here and there. And then at the end of the year, I completely fell off with it in November and December. I know I've missed weeks there, but in the beginning and for the most part, I think I was doing this, and I want to get back to doing that. I want to get back to a consistent once a week upload schedule. So that's what I'm also going for this year. The other channel goal was to post at least one AuthorTube video a month. So any writing related videos, to post out at least once a month. And I think I did that for the most part, especially once I started doing my weekly writing update videos, which I do want to get back to doing that as well, the writing update videos. And so I think I pretty much, for the most part, kind of did that. Again, like at the end of the year, I kind of fell off with posting anything in general. But for the most part, I think I did that for most of the year. The next channel goal was to create a channel trailer to put on my channel. I have not done that yet. I still want to, so obviously it's going to be a 2020 goal now. And then the last goal was to participate in more buddy reads and read-alongs. And I did a couple, I think more towards the beginning, the first half of the year, I think. I did some buddy reads, but I do want to do more, so it's still a goal for this year. So those were 2019 goals and how I did with those. So now let's talk about this year, 2020, what my goals are for this year. Because this year I'm definitely scaling back on the goals, especially the reading goals. So last year my reading goal was 100 books. I've actually cut that down in half. So this year my goal is only 50 books. And kind of a couple reasons for that. One, last year I had more time, one. And two, I just really wanted to try to get to that 100 books at least one time. And now that I've met that goal, I'm kind of like, okay, now however many I read, I'm okay with. Doesn't have to be 100. I just wanted to get to that goal at least once. So this year, kind of scaling it back, especially because I'm still not completely past my reading slump. So I got into like a huge reading slump at the end of 2019 and didn't read for like a month and a half, almost 2 months, and I'm still not completely past that reading slump. I'm starting to read again, but it's a little slow going. So didn't want to put any pressure on myself to read if I didn't want to read. So my goal for this year, 50 books. And if I do more than that, great. If not, it's fine. My next goal is I still want to read at least 10 middle grade books and 10 adult books. So I did like having that goal last year. I really enjoyed the middle grade books that I read. So I want to continue with that and read more middle grade books and still branch out and read more adult books. So 10 for each category. The next reading goal is at least 3 classics. So not 5 this year, at least 3, one more than I did last year. Just to, again, kind of push myself out of my comfort zone a little bit more. And then my next goal is to continue reading more of the backlist books on my bookshelf. So I still have a lot of books to get through. So I'm trying to read more of the backlist books on my shelves. I might do another video this year of some of the backlist books that I want to try to get to this year. But I do want to get through more of them. I don't know how many. I haven't made the list yet, but I do want to get through a good amount of backlist books. My next goal is to read at least one nonfiction book a month. So since I'm cutting back on my overall reading goal and putting my goal at 50 books for the year, I want to do at least one nonfiction a month still, which, I did pretty well with that last year. So hopefully you can continue with that. My next goal is to read at least 4 tomes this year. And when I say tomes, I mean big books. So anything over 500 pages, I think is considered a tome. So yeah, I want to try to get through some of my bigger books. I want to get to the 3rd Game of Thrones book and maybe the Bone season. So yeah, I want to get to at least 4 tomes. So hopefully I can do that. Nothing quite as huge as Stephen King's It. That was, I'm not trying to do a tome that big again. But who knows? I might. I don't know. The Game of Thrones books are pretty long as well. So we'll see. But yeah, at least 4 of them for the year. And my last reading goal is to finish at least 5 series. So I did finish quite a bit of series last year, which I'm happy about, and I want to continue with that. So I want to try to finish at least 5 series this year. Now for my writing goals for 2020. My first one is to get my book published. So the nonfiction book that I have, I want to get that published in 2020. So that's what I'm going to be working towards this year. I don't know when in 2020. I don't have a date in mind yet or a season in mind yet. Maybe summer, not sure, but we'll see. Um, but I do want to get my book published this year. And my second writing goal for 2020 is to finish uh, the first draft of one of my fiction projects. So I did start 2 fiction projects last year. I actually have 3 fiction projects that I go back and forth between. So I want to finish at least one of them this year, at least the first draft of one of them. My next writing goal, this one is, more for fun, just for me for fun. But lately I have been binge watching old episodes of Law and Order SVU as I patiently wait or impatiently wait for it to come back on this season. So I've been binge watching old episodes and actually finding a couple episodes that I must have missed because I've never seen them. But it's been fun binge watching old episodes. And it made me think, like, I really want to write an episode script of Law and Order SVU. Like, just for me, for fun. Like, I want to try my hand at script writing and see how it goes. I haven't done much script writing before. The only time I've ever done any script writing was for like short skits at my old church, and so I haven't done too much of that, but I want to try it out. And I do have the yearly access to Masterclass, and I know on Masterclass they've got a couple of screenwriters, TV show writers like Shonda Rhimes, and they have her courses and other screenwriter courses on there. So I might take a couple of those and see how I do and just try to write one episode of SVU for fun and see how I do. And if I like it, maybe I'll continue doing more script writing. I actually one time had an idea for a story that I wanted to write, but when I was thinking of it in my head, I imagined it as a TV show, and I thought it would do much better as a TV show than as a novel. And so, if I do take the script writing class and I like it and I have fun with it, I might try to do that story. I might try to script write that story idea that I had in my head, because I do think that was a story that would be better told in TV form. My next writing goal is to just develop a consistent writing schedule. I don't know what that's gonna look like right now. Might be writing in the mornings, might be the evenings, maybe both, I don't know. But we'll see. I just want to try to figure out how I can get on a consistent schedule. And then my last writing goal for 2020 is to write at least 4 short stories. So one of the things that I want to do now that I have a website and I'm trying to build up an email list, one of the things I wanted to do for subscribers on my email list is possibly send them one short story every quarter. These won't ever be published. They're more just like a little bonus for my email subscribers. So that's what I'm hoping to do. Please don't hold me to that because I don't know if I'll actually get to 4 short stories this year, especially with writing other stories and working on the book and script writing. So don't hold me to it. But it is something that I would like to do if I can. So hopefully I will get 4 short stories out there. So now for the last category is my channel goals. So this one's pretty short as well. So for my channel goals, I just have 3 main goals. One is to finally create a channel trailer. I will get it done this year. I am determined to get that done this year. It will happen. The second goal is just to remain on a consistent schedule. So a consistent weekly upload schedule. Hoping to stay consistent with that this year. And then the third goal is to do more buddy reads and read-alongs. I really like doing buddy reads, and I feel like it'll also help me to get more out of my reading slump if I have someone else to talk to about the book. So I'm really wanting to do more of those this year. So if anyone wants to buddy read with me, let me know in the comments below. I'm definitely down for that. So that's it for this video. Those are all of my 2020 bookish resolution goals. So hopefully 2020 will be a great year where I can meet a lot of those goals. And that's pretty much it for now. Let me know in the comments below, what are some of your 2020 goals? Do you have any reading goals, writing goals, or any other goals at all? So let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you guys soon with another video. Bye!